Welcome to Top Notch Lectures. In the previous video, we have come across about the business economics, its origin, meaning, micro and macroeconomics, their difference, and nature and scope about the economics. And in this video, we will have a same topic and we will have a broader view of this. Let's go into the video. Adam Smith. So, he is known as the father of political economy, because he was the first person who put all the economic ideas in a systematic way. It is only after Adam Smith we study economics as a systematic science. So he has defined the economics as wealth definition. That is, he is the author of the famous book Wealth of Nations, 1776. So in his book, he has written about economics as wealth. That is, the term wealth has a special meaning in economics. Generally, the term wealth means money. But in economics, wealth refers to those goods which satisfy human wants. But all goods that satisfy human wants are not wealth. For example, air, water, and sunlight are essential for our survival. However, they are not regarded as wealth because they are available in plenty. Therefore, those goods that are very scarce and have money value are considered as wealth. So this is what economics about, like he has defined about the economics in terms of the wealth definition. So in his view, the economics was concerned with the problems arising from acquiring and using the wealth by people. He is generally interested mainly in studying the ways by which the wealth of all nations could be increased. According to him, economics outlines the principle to make the people and the nation rich. This wealth science guides the state and people in generating revenue. In his book Wealth of Nations, he considered economics as subject in which we study production of wealth, distribution of wealth, conception of wealth, and exchange of wealth. Here, production of wealth means production of goods and services by combining main four factors. So that we will see in our next video. And here we can see like what are the advantages in regards to the Adam Smith view on a point of view of economics. So it is highlighted an important problem faced by each and every nation of the world, that is, creation of wealth. The problems of poverty, unemployment, etc. can be solved to a greater extent when wealth is produced and distributed equally. So, the credit goes to Adam Smith and his followers who have addressed to the problem of economic growth and increase in the production of wealth. There is not only advantages of Adam Smith view, but also there are few criticisms where many economists are viewed upon. Like Ruskin, Carlyle, so they called economics as a dark science. That is, they have criticized about the Adam Smith view and they have called about the science of getting rich, the dark science, etc. So, but this criticism is unfair because it is based on a misunderstanding about the nature and scope of the economics. Another famous economist, Alfred Marshall. So, he has defined economics as welfare. So, Marshall has defined as a welfare like a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. Usually, in his books Principle of Economics, he has published in the year 1890. In this, he agrees that economics studies about wealth but not wealth alone. So, in the words of Marshall, economics on one hand is the study of wealth and on the other hand, on the most important side, a part of the study of man himself. So, like he has suggested and he has emphasized that man is the center of this study. According to him, the study of man is more important since it is the primary than the study of wealth, which is secondary. So according to the definition which he has given, Here, the economics has been indicated to be a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. By ordinary business, we mean those activities which occupy considerable part of human effort. The fulfillment of the economic needs is very important for the business which every man ordinarily does. Here, Professor Marshall defined, and he has pointed out that economics is the study of wealth, but more important, it is the study of man. So here we can see like a few advantages he has defined, like the Marshall has strengthened the weakness of wealth definition by emphasizing the importance of man along with the wealth. Moreover, he has created a new philosophy by shifting the emphasis from wealth to welfare, thus elevating the status of the economics. Through his welfare definition, he has clearly stated that money is the only means to an end and not the end itself. So there are also a few disadvantages on the Marshall point of view. That is, according to Marshall, he himself says like it is a narrow scope. That is, in material things, it may be fall within the scope of economics, whereas satisfaction given by the non-material things to the human wants will not come under this. So this definition is criticized as the material definition. For example, we know that alcoholic drinks and cigarettes are bad for our health, but these commodities are produced and sold. There is a market for them. There are buyers and sellers. So the production and distribution of these goods is also an economic activity. In my previous video, these notes are not there, so you can just take a note of it and I will explain the same now. And here, economics can also be called as a science and also an art. So whereas the science is broadly divided as positive and normative. There is no need for us to ask the question whether economics is a positive science or normative science. Instead of that, we may look at it as a subject that has two parts, namely positive economics and normative economics. So here the positive economics, it is a branch of economics which tries to explain the way the economy actually operates. A positive or pure science analyzes cause and effect relationship between variables, but it does not pass any valuable judgments. According to few economists, that is, we can say like Robbins. So here he has emphasized that economics is concerned only with the study of the economic decision of individuals and the society as positive facts, but not with the ethics of these decisions. And moreover, it is a pure and a positive science which excludes from its scope and normative aspect of human behavior. So, a positive statement can be rejected by looking at the real world, that is testing hypothesis. Positive economics is the consequences of applying the scientific method to economic phenomena. The study of economics is based on the objective analysis. Most economics today focus on positive economic analysis, which uses what is and what has been occurring in an economy as the basis for any statement about the future. So here the positive economics stands in contrast to the normative economics, which uses value judgments. As normative science, economics involves value judgments. It is prescriptive in nature and describes what should be the things. For example, the questions like what should be the level of national income, what should be the wage rate, how the fruits of national product are distributed among people, all fall within the scope of the normative economics. So thus the normative economics is concerned with the welfare propositions. Some economics thereof view the value judgments, but different individuals will be different, and thus for deriving laws or theories, it should not be used actually. But the normative economics attempts to determine desirability of different economic conditions programs, or situations by asking what should or what ought to be. In contrast, positive economics is concerned with what is. So mainly the positive economics is concerned with the economic events and tries to formulate the theory to explain them. But in the normative economics, we give more importance to the ethical judgments, and it is concerned with the ideal rather than the actual situations. So, economics is an art. So, it is the practical application of knowledge. Usually, a science teaches us to know a phenomenon, and an art teaches us to do a thing. For example, there is an inflation in Pakistan. This information is derived from positive economics. The government takes certain fiscal and monetary measures to bring down the general level of prices in the country. The study of these fiscal and monetary measures to bring down inflation makes the subject of economics as an art. Art is nothing but practice of knowledge. Science teaches us to know while art teaches us to do. Science is a theoretical while art is a practical. If we analyze economics, we find that it has the features of an art also. It has a various branches: conception, production, and public finance, etc., which provides the practical solutions to various economic conditions prevails in our country. That is, various economic problems which prevails in our country. It helps in solving various economic problems which we face in our day-to-day life. Thus, economics is both science and also an art. It is a science in its methodology and art in its application. The study of an employment problem is science, but framing suitable policies for reducing the extent of unemployment can be considered as an art. So, economics can be concluded as economics as a science and also as an art. In the previous video, we have seen about the scope of economics. We have seen about the points and I have explained the same, but still we will just have a broader view on it. So, demand analysis and forecasting. A business firm is an economic organism which transforms productive resources into consumable goods, which are meant for sale in the market. As such, a firm, before producing any consumable commodity, must assess the nature of demand for the product. It has to search out and measure the forces that determines the sales. Manager of a firm has to take into consideration, and also he has to decide about the demand analysis, which involves the demand determinants, demand distinctions, and demand forecasting. So this enables appraisal of a salesman performance and also for setting up the sales quotas. The next point is production and cost analysis. The production and cost analysis is essential for effective project planning analysis, which is done in the financial terms. The cost of production of a firm is estimated from the accounting records. Data available in costing records enable manager to compare cost of production of different periods and thereby evolve suitable policies in controlling the cost and deriving the suitable profits. It is concerned in deciding about the proper product mix, and also it helps in determining what factors are to be combined and in what manner to produce a given product. It is done in the physical terms. The next point is inventory management. So this also comprises with the capital management. That is, it refers the efficient use of scarce capital. And also the firms normally prepares a capital budget to manage their capital. Usually the capital is broadly classified as investment capital and working capital. It also involves short-term and long-term requirement. It deals with three things, namely cost of capital, rate of return, and selection of project. This also comprises with the profit management, where it is the private aspect in the business economics. A business firm's main aim is to make profit, which are the primary measure of. Next is resource allocation. So allocation of resources is the main and important aspect of scope of business economics. So as we already seen more about the resource allocation, I will move with the theory of investment decisions, where the decision making involves choice. The problem of decision making arises because resources are available to a firm or limited and they can put to an alternative uses. So thus decision making function makes one of the scope of the business economics. Next is profit analysis. Profit analysis is one of the main important factor for the scope of business economics. So here profit. So this is the main mantra for a business firm. So main objective is to make the profit, but also is to make a profit under the situation of uncertainty. Since the firms have to work in a world of uncertainty, profit planning becomes very difficult. Yet it is necessary to plan the future profits in a realistic manner, taking into consideration the element of uncertainty. Profit planning, profit management, profit measurement, etc. are the important areas of the business economics. The last scope of business economics is under scope of economics, risk and uncertainty analysis. In economics, the definitions of risk and uncertainty are different, and the distinction between the two is clearer. Risk is present when future events occur with measurable probability. Uncertainty is present when the likelihood of future events is indefinite or incalculable. Hope you are clear with this video. To understand this video, you can check the previous video, which I have given the link in the description box. Kindly like, subscribe and click on the bell icon for further notifications. Meet you in the next video.